Hello guys, my name is Kiki and welcome to my channel. I've been a crafter for almost 30 years, yeah, that long. But if you want to learn how to decorate your home on a budget while having fun at it, subscribe, hit the like, and stay tuned.
DIY number 1. We're gonna take this wood round, some wire and canning, and also this dowel, and we're gonna make a beautiful pumpkin with our drill. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that drill and I'm gonna drill a hole in the middle of the size of the dowel. And after I drill that, I'm gonna drill a couple of holes, one on the top, one in the bottom, and on the sides. So we have all of our holes so we can just make our pumpkin. Now let's make those holes, and then we're gonna take our dowel and we're gonna glue it in the middle like this. Then I'm gonna take the canning and I'm gonna measure it. Then I'm gonna cut it like that. And I'm gonna cut 4 of those, and then I'm gonna make holes with a hole puncher. And I'm just gonna staple them down like this. 4 of them in between our holes. Then we're gonna take those smaller holes and we're gonna add some wire. And I'm just twisting it like this so we can get our wire around our wood round. Now I'm gonna measure it and cut and repeat that all around. Then I'm gonna take beads on 3 different sizes and I'm gonna start my pattern, and that will be 1 small bead, 1 medium, 1 large, 1 medium, 1 small, and we repeat that pattern starting with our smaller one. Then we're gonna go all around. We're gonna make our pattern, go over, fill that, and then we repeated that pattern 3 times on each strand. Then I'm gonna repeat that on all of my wire strands. Now what I'm doing is I'm just measuring it, and now I will go on and make them. Then I'm gonna cut that wood dowel with that, and then I'm gonna start putting my pieces of canning first like this. Push it down, and then I'm gonna start wrapping my wire around the dowel like that so we can start making our pumpkin. We're gonna wrap around just like this all around our stem. Then we're gonna cut the excess stem, and then we're gonna use that piece of dowel to make a springy thingy with one of our wires. Then I'm gonna cut the excess stem, as I said, and I'm gonna add this leaf from a pumpkin from Dollar Tree. It's a sign, and I'm gonna add that. Then I'm gonna play with my springy thingies, and that's it. Now let me show you. Here it is, and I'm loving this one. But let me know in the comments below what you think about this pumpkin, because this one is my favorite so far. DIY number 2.
What we're gonna need for this first part is a frame and 2 stir sticks. That will depend, the size will depend on the frame that you are using, because we're gonna place them like this on our frame. And I know, yes, it's a bit damaged, but that's not gonna be seen. Now, as you can see, it's old and it's damaged. Now we're gonna use 3 popsicle sticks of the super jumbo popsicle sticks. And to remove that old and damaged canvas that I had, I'm gonna cut the canvas like so, and then I'm gonna pull it really hard because I have to cut a little bit more, and then I pull hard, really hard again. And after I remove the first piece, as you will see here, the others will come off really nicely and smoothly. Yes, I had to go through a lot for that first piece. And now I'm gonna take that frame and I'm gonna add my stir sticks. I'm gonna cut first my popsicle sticks, and I'm gonna cut the round edges of those like that. And then I'm gonna cut them in half because I don't have enough of the the smaller, skinnier sticks. And now I'm gonna cut one of those pieces in half like that, because we're gonna do those crosses to our window. And now I'm gonna take that stir stick and I'm gonna add glue to both corners like that, and I'm gonna glue it, and then I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna add the longer one like that. And yes, I'm using eyeballing, and apparently my eyeballs aren't straight because that was really crooked. Now that it is nicely glued, I'm gonna add the other popsicle stick pieces like that, and I'm gonna crisscross them just like that, and I'll glue them, and I repeat that to the other side, and that will be it. If you like modern farmhouse and boho decor and fall decor and seasonal decor and a couple of silly jokes, subscribe because that's what I do here. And now I have to remember to clean up the excess and hold them down. And we will repeat that, and that's how it's looking. We're gonna paint it using this 97-cent black spray paint from Walmart. Yes, I know, black spray paint, that's weird, but hold on and bear with me. Now we're gonna give it a good coat of white chalk paint. Yes, I know this seems so crazy, but believe me, this will be really easy to distress a little bit later. So we're gonna give it a good coat of that white chalk paint all around, cover everything that's painted black, and that's the front of our window completely, just like that. Cover it completely, and then we're gonna move on to distressing our window. So like would Dory say from Nemo, Finding Nemo, just keep painting, painting, painting. Paint it all around and let it dry. And now that it is all dry, what we're gonna do is, I still have my paintbrush, I don't know why. What we're gonna do, as you can see, it's dry. We're gonna start sanding the edges or distressing our piece. And for that, I'm using sandpaper that I found because my sand sponge, I don't know if it's having fun this pandemic or something, because I cannot find it. So we're gonna distress it really nicely, as you see me doing here. The amount of distressing would depend on how you like it, and if you don't like to distress, you don't have to. And if you're not going to distress, you don't have to paint it black. So you just paint it white, and that will be it. And now that I distress it, I'm gonna clean it really nicely, remove all of that dust, and I'm gonna add, as you know, I don't have a drill, so what I do is I use a screw, and I screw it to my piece before adding my eye hooks. So I'm gonna screw that and then unscrew it and add my eye hook over there, just like that. And then I'm gonna repeat on the other side. Now I have my two eye hooks, and I'm gonna take some rope and I'm gonna tie it on top like that, just making 2 knots on that rope. We don't have to go too fancy because that won't be heavy at all, so you don't need a really tight knot. You just need a simple knot like that, and it will hold it no problem. Now I'm taking 2 pieces of this buffalo check ribbon, and I'm just gonna tie it in the center. You will see me, it's a little bit of a struggle, and the struggle is real. And we're gonna tie it in the center like that, together, both pieces. And as you see me, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bend them down so we can start decorating our piece. And I'm using my cotton, as you see here, and that pig, and that other one, and that other one, and some eucalyptus, and all of that is from Walmart, and florals would depend on what you like. I'm adding that one to the back and adding some hot glue so I can glue it, and then I'm gonna glue my cotton. As you see me here, I'm just fluffing it and just gluing the pieces of cotton that are a little bit loose, and I'm fluffing and gluing this one, and I'm gonna add that one to the other side. First, I have to remove the tag. And we glue that and we add it, and now I'm just gonna take this piece of greenery and I'm gonna add it, and we're gonna glue everything together. Now I'm fluffing my pumpkin pig, and we're gonna give it a good fluff, and after that we're gonna add it over there, a little bit more hot glue, and that will be it. we hot glue everything together and we proceed to tie really nicely our ribbons. And we're gonna give it a good knot, double knot, and we're gonna play with the tails of our ribbon like that. And we're gonna cut them, and I'm gonna ducktail them. So now I'm just ducktailing them, adding a little bit of hot glue so we can cover the stems of our picks, and adding a little bit of hot glue in the bottom so they stay where I want them. And we will end our ribbon part of the project. Then we're gonna add some eucalyptus. You can add the eucalyptus, you can leave it out. That depends on your taste and what you want with your arrangement. But I'm adding some pieces of that eucalyptus here and there because I wanted a little bit more greenery on my piece. And after we finish playing with that, we will have a beautiful farmhouse hanging wall decor, something like that. Wall hanging decor. A window decor. And that's it. And this is how it turned out. As you can see, we have all our floral over here and our window. And I'm trying to give you a closer and better look at the distressed look that it has. And this is how it's looking. I'm so in love with this piece. It looks beautiful.
DIY number 3. And we're gonna take this eggs from Easter from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna take 3 of them. And as you can see, we're making a pumpkin, so I'm gonna take them and glue them together like this. And then I'm gonna cover those holes with some wood filler. I'm gonna cover all of them, and then I'm gonna let that dry so I can sand it. Now let me apply it on all of them, and then I will come back after it's dry and sand it off so it's a smooth surface. And after I do that, I'm gonna take antique wax from Waverly and I'm gonna paint it like this until I have covered everything. Then I'm gonna let it dry really nicely, and we're gonna make the most beautiful pumpkins. And I'm gonna take this pumpkin from Walmart, remove the bow, remove the wire on the top, and some of this ribbon and some of these cubes, and I wanted to use those, but I did not. Now what I'm gonna take is my pumpkin and a popsicle stick, and this one is the smaller one. You can see the bigger one on the side, and I'm just cutting a stem. Let me show you. Here's the stem. Now I'm gonna glue the smaller one that I bought from Walmart on top of the one that we made. And then I'm gonna take a piece of a stir stick, and I'm gonna glue those pumpkins over there just like this. And I'm gonna glue those cubes in the back so it has lots of support so it won't fall over. I'm gonna glue them in the back like this, and then we're gonna start adding our bow here from the leather ribbon that I had. And I'm gonna dovetail those tails so it looks cute. And then I'm gonna take the raffia bow and I'm gonna glue it on the other pumpkin, and I'm gonna fluff it first and then glue it. Just like that, we will have a beautiful set of pumpkins. And as you can see, I wanted to add those, but I don't like them. So we're gonna leave them like that. And here you can see them. Let me know in the comments below because I think this is boho cute. So let me know what you think about those ones. DIY number 4.
The barn will be your design length, but I made 45-degree angles and 22.5-degree angle. And now I'm showing you a base and some pieces I cut for our roof like that. And we are going to use a wooden circle and some of those skinny sticks, celery paint, pumpkin Waverly, black paint, and deep red. Also, we're going to use white. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take them, all of them, and we're going to glue them together. And as you can see, I'm using the ones with the 45-degree angle to the corners, and the 22.5 degrees, I measured that using my miter box. We're gonna use them in the center so we can create the shape we're looking for. And if you saw my thumbnail, we're making a barn, a fall barn. I'm so excited about this. And we're gonna wipe off the excess glue, and now we're gonna paint it using the deep red. We're gonna paint the front, the back, and the sides, not the bottom, not the top. Those we're going to leave it like that. And we're going to continue painting until we have everything covered. Just like that. And we paint it completely like that. And when it's dry, we're going to flip it over and paint the back. Now I'm going to move on to everything that's white, and I'm painting my circle and my roof using my white paint. And I'm also going to paint my door, but I'm going to show you how I made my door. So we're going to continue painting until we paint everything white. And like that, we're going to paint the front and the back and the sides for those. But the circle, just the front and the sides. If you like what you see here and you like modern farmhouse and boho decor and seasonal decor, subscribe, because that's what I do, especially silly jokes. Now I'm taking my skinny sticks and I'm just cutting my shape for my door, and I'm just using a scissor and cutting the excess. You can make it as big or as small as you want. And now I'm gonna cut the top and the bottom the same size, and then I'm gonna cut the excess for my barn door. Now I'm gonna cut one, and I'm gonna leave the other one for when I'm assembling it. Now we're gonna add hot glue to make our door on the corners like that, and now I'm gonna add the X on the back like that, and I'm gonna add the other one crisscrossed from the front, but hot glue it in the back. Let me show you. You see, we crisscross it, but in the back, gluing it in the back. And now we're gonna cut any excess that we have, and we're gonna paint it white. Paint it completely, really nicely. Don't mind my painted hands, but we're gonna paint it completely. And now I got a little bit of that unglued, but I glue it back, and I'm gonna attach, after I finish and it is dry, that to my barn. But now I'm gonna paint the base, and that's a stir stick also, using the celery paint. And now we're gonna attach our barn door to our barn. For that, lots of hot glue, stick it there, and now we're gonna move on to our ceiling. And for that, I'm gonna glue the first two pieces, the smaller ones, like that. And then I'm gonna take the bigger ones, those are for the 45-degree angles, and I'm gonna glue them there. And now, after we finish with that, we're gonna glue our base. And for that, hot glue and glue it down. Let it dry, and now we're gonna move on to the best part of our fall farm. We're gonna make a sign for the front of our farm. And as you can see, I'm just handwriting happy, and guess what? Fall. Happy fall, like that. And we're just gonna paint it until we have what we want, and that's happy fall. Then we're gonna move on using our pumpkin color, and we're gonna move on to making a cute pumpkin on the side. And after we do that, we're gonna start painting some cute leaves all around our sign. And as you can see, I just stamped 3 times, make a small stamp, and stamp with my brush 2 times. Like that. And we're gonna do that all around our sign, and don't worry about the empty spots, because we're gonna add other colors to those spots. Repeat that until you have everything with your cute leaves. And now I'm gonna move on to the celery. And first I'm gonna paint my pumpkin stem. And then after that, I'm gonna start doing the same with the celery. But I'm not gonna add the 2 other leaves. So I'm just doing 3 leaves, like a maple leaf. I think that's the name. And we're gonna add those like that. And after we finish with that one, we're gonna move on to the deep red. And for that, I'm gonna make 1 leaf over there. And then I'm gonna move on to making dots in between our leaves. And that will be it. We glue that to our barn and we will have the most beautiful fall decor. And now, my beautiful barn. Yes, it's a fall barn. That says happy fall.
DIY number 5. And I'm gonna make something different using canning and this dowel. And for that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unwrap my canning like this, and then I'm gonna measure it using my dowel. And if you saw the thumbnail, we're making a beautiful pumpkin. And what I'm doing is I'm just cutting the canning like this, using the first one that I cut as a measurement. And you can do it in the size that you want. I want to make a bigger pumpkin. That's why I'm using all of this canning. And I'm going to cut 8 at first. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and using this hole puncher, I'm going to punch some holes, one in the top, one in the bottom like that, and get my dowel in there like this. Then I'm using those thingies just to make sure that they won't move around. And as you can see, I'm adding more and more of those until I have my 8 canning pieces over there to make it look like half a pumpkin. And as you can see, I'm continue adding them like that and moving my thingies or clamps. And then when I have all of them, I'm just going to move them or place them where I want them like that. Then I'm going to take a stapler like this one. And I'm going to start stapling them down together just like that. You're going to staple them together to make sure that they won't move anywhere. Because we want this pumpkin to look cute but be sturdy. So I'm just going to continue stapling them like that, moving them around, just making sure that I have 2 of them together. And like that, I'm going to continue just going around and stapling all of them. When I finish, I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side with 8 more of those canning strips. Then I'm going to continue stapling like this until I have all of them stapled down really nicely and secured so I can move on to adding my hot glue. But first, I'm just placing them where I want them, like that, playing around with them. You know me, I love to play around with these things. So what I'm doing is playing around, just stapling them like that. You're gonna have a little bit of a hard time on some of them, but it is not impossible and it is really fun. I just love making this pumpkin. Now I'm gonna continue stapling until I have all of them where I want them. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the hot glue process. And what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to start, let me finish with this. I'm going to start gluing my pieces really well. And now as you can see, I'm adding hot glue in the bottom and then I'm going to add on the other side of that bottom. So we have all of those canning pieces secured. And you will see that I'm using one of those clamps to clamp it down and make sure that they are really squeezed together. So we have that secured. So I'm going to glue it over here. Then I'm going to cut that piece using my pliers. And then I'm going to take a piece of wood, a wood round, and I'm going to glue it in the bottom. And I'm using this ones that I got from Walmart. I'm adding a little bit of hot glue, a lot of it, and I'm just gluing it to the bottom part. And that will be the top of our pumpkin, but that will be a little later. Now I'm going to take my pumpkin and I'm going to take this copper spray paint from Harris Paints, and I'm going to paint it completely up, down, sides, everywhere to make it look like a copper pumpkin. Now I'm taking some aluminum foil and twisting them around like that so I can make a beautiful stem for the pumpkin. And you just play with it until you have a beautiful stem. Then I'm going to take more of that copper spray paint and I'm going to spray paint it too, as well as one of these wood rounds. Now that we have everything spray painted, I'm going to cut the excess dowel like this. And then after I cut it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that spray painted wood round that we have, and I'm going to make a little hole over here, and then I'm going to add hot glue, and I'm going to glue it to the bottom of the pumpkin, and that will be the actual bottom of the pumpkin. Now I'm just going to clamp it down to make sure that it is secured and it will dry where I want it. And after that, we can move on to the top part, the actual top part. And for that, we're going to take our stem and we're going to glue it over here in the middle of that top wood round. And then we're going to take these leaves and some wire, and I'm using copper wire to make our springy thingies. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to curl it around our dowel, and then I'm going to glue it over here in the back of the stem like that. And then we have our springy thingies, and we're going to glue our leaves. And for that, I'm just using these leaves that I spray painted. And then I'm just going to glue them like that. And that will be it for our pumpkin. Now, let me show you our pumpkin. Here you can see it, and I'm in love with this one. I just think this is the most beautiful thing ever. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this one, because, yeah, I'm biased.
If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I would love for you to subscribe and become part of our YouTube family. And if you're a returning subscriber, you know how much I love you. Remember to hit the thumbs up, because that's the free way to help this girl out. It makes YouTube notice that you like this video, and it will recommend it to other beauties like yourself. Remember that also in the description box down below, you're gonna find the links to all of my social media, so you can go and check me out over there, and we can be friends and have lots of fun.
DIY number 6. And we're gonna take one of these stir sticks, and I just remove the handle and those letters from Walmart, and we're gonna spell fall. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove those tags on the back and those thingies over there, including the staples, and it's a struggle, but I'm gonna get them out. Now I'm gonna remove them, and I'm gonna do that to all of my letters. Then I'm gonna measure them with my stir stick, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add hot glue and glue them in the middle of that stir stick like that. And I'm gluing the first one and the last one so I can fit the other ones like this. After we have them all glued over there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our paint, and that will be plaster from Waverly, and we're gonna paint it completely all around our letters. You can use any color of paint that you want, maybe white or some other color. I just decided to add this beautiful plaster paint because it will go so beautifully with the other DIYs that I have. And I think I just want a little bit more neutral this year. So I'm gonna paint it all around, as you can see here, all around our letters like that, and the base. We have to remember to paint the base and the sides of that base. I painted the front and back of the sign because we want the sign to look beautiful no matter what. And to have a complete project. So I'm going to continue painting it like this until I have covered every single nook and cranny. Something like that. And after that, we will have a beautiful fall sign. Let me show you. Here you can see it, and I'm just loving it. Look at that. So elegant and simple. I just love a little bit of neutral this year. I don't know, but I just changed my orange for this neutral. DIY number 7. And we're gonna take this, and those are planters, and they are so simple. But I found them at a local pharmacy or drugstore, and I'm gonna take this copper spray paint and I'm gonna spray paint them so they look cute. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some of these rocks on the inside, and after that we're gonna have lots of them. Well, not lots. We're gonna fill half of our planter, and then we're gonna add some of this floral foam over here. And I'm gonna add cubes of it because they are small. They are only 3 inches. So I'm gonna add a couple of those cubes. You can use any planter that you have. And then I'm gonna add some moss to the top, and for that I'm adding hot glue like that. And then I'm adding my moss, and I'm gonna repeat that to the other planter like that. And add lots of moss. Then I'm gonna give it a haircut, and that's my favorite part. I love giving them a haircut. So I'm gonna add more moss here and there, and then cut the excess, get them beautiful, and so we can add this beautiful pics that I found at Walmart last year, but I'm sure you can find it this year. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add that to the middle like that, push it down really well, and after I got it there, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add it to the other one. And I'm gonna take these leaves that comes from a pick from Walmart, and I'm gonna add them. They look like lamb's ear, and I just love them. Now I'm gonna glue them like that all around my planter like this. And after that we will have a cute topiary. Let me show you. Here you can see our topiaries, and I'm in love with them. Just let me know in the comments below what you think about those, because yeah, I'm biased with this one too. I just love them. If you want to buy me some crafting supplies, you will find this link in the description box down below. You don't have to do that. You can support your favorite creator by watching, sharing, and liking their videos. But if you want to buy me crafting supplies, this link, you will find it in the description box down below, and you will get a shout out in my channel. DIY number 8. We're gonna take this old wreath, and I'm gonna remove all of those leaves like that, just pulling them. And we're gonna use a small grapevine wreath like this one, and we're gonna use wheat. And for that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of this wheat, and I'm just gonna cut it and start adding it to my wreath form. For that, I'm just using regular scissors, and I'm cutting it like this, and then I'm just adding it to the wreath form like that. You can use any type of wreath you want, but I'm just using this one that I had at home because I didn't want to buy a wreath form for this. So I'm gonna continue adding my wheat. I forgot the name. Yeah, my wheat. So I'm gonna continue adding it, and I'm also gonna use the stems. And as you can see, I'm adding the stems here and there so I can fill my beautiful wreath. I'm gonna continue adding stems and adding all of those thingies from the wheat until I have covered all my wreath. So I'm gonna continue playing around because I want that wispy look that you see on those beautiful wheat wreaths. I'm just in love with that look. So I'm gonna continue doing this like that, going all around my wreath until I have everything covered like this. Then I'm gonna play around with the stems, adding some here and there and a little bit more of that wheat. And after that, we will have a beautiful wreath. Now I'm gonna take this window that I made last year, and I removed the things that it had, and I'm gonna add my beautiful wheat wreath. It's complicated. Wheat wreath. And I'm gonna glue it like this. And let me show you. Here you have it. Here you can see it. And it is beautiful. Look at that. It's so cute. I just love it on that window. I'm in love with it. DIY number 9. And we're going to take this one and raffia braids. And we're gonna just make it. And as you can see, the theme is broken pumpkins. So I'm just gonna add my braid, raffia braid, over here, and we're gonna go all around our pumpkin. As you can see, I'm just wrapping it around, adding a little bit of hot glue over here in the bottom, and then just going back like this, cutting the excess like this, and gluing that other piece over here. Then we're gonna cut the excess like this, and we're gonna repeat the same steps in the other side just like this, like crisscrossing them like that. Then we're just gonna glue them like that and glue the other one on the top like this over here. And we're gonna repeat that over and over again. And as you can see, this was a longer piece of raffia, so I'm just going around my pumpkin another time, like that. Then I'm gonna cut the excess, and that's it. We're gonna continue just wrapping around our raffia braids until we have covered our pumpkin. As you can see, I'm repeating the same steps, just going around with my raffia, gluing on the top, on the bottom, and another glue dot in the top. Just like this, so we can have it beautiful. I'm gonna keep on wrapping it, and I will show you how it looks. Now, as you can see, I have it all wrapped, and I'm gonna take my stem, I'm gonna cut that, and I'm gonna glue it over here, and that's it for this one. So cute. Let me show you how this one turned out. And this is how this one turned out. Let me know, because yeah, I'm loving this one too. Just let me know what you think. Last DIY, or DIY number 10, and we're gonna make tassels with this yarn from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna take it, and also we're gonna use pumpkins and beads again and more yarn. So what are we doing? We're doing a garland. Now let me just take my tassel piece of cardboard, and I made my tassels here, and I'm gonna wrap around my yarn like that 50 times so I can make a beautiful tassel. Then I'm gonna cut it, wrap it around like this with a piece of yarn like that, and I'm gonna tie it really tight, and then I'm gonna remove it from my cardboard. And after I do that, I'm gonna cut the bottom. Then I'm gonna get a piece of that same yarn, and that's it. And now I'm gonna take some of that fishing line, and I'm gonna use a long needle, and I'm gonna make my pattern, and it is a small, a medium, a large, a pumpkin, and then a medium, a large, a medium, a small, and then I repeat that and add another pumpkin just like this. And I'm just using my needle so I can get through my beads and also through my pumpkins. We're gonna repeat that until we have finished with all of our pumpkins, and then we're gonna tie a knot on the ends, both of them, just like this, just tying it really nicely so we can hang it. Then after I finish with both of my knots, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start adding my tassels. But first, I'm gonna remove the excess over here, and now we're gonna start tying those tassels. And I'm just doing them in between the smaller beads like this. And I'm gonna tie all of them over there, and that will be it. Now let me just tie one in the end or bottom part of the garland, and that will be it. Now let me show you. Here you can see it, and this one is beautiful. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this beautiful garland, because yeah, I'm in love with it. That's it for today. This is everything I have for you. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this ones. I love them and I'm biased. Take care, my beautiful friends. Bye-bye.